Oh boy! Originally I wanted to make this one FAQ anime, but the thing is, I actually like anime. Or I guess a better way to say it would be, there's anime that I like. So instead of basically saying, fuck all anime, I think what I'll do is make a few videos that focus on various anime that I don't like, or ones that epitomize common problems with anime. So today, get ready because it's a bad one. So when Sword Art Online first came out, it was really well received. I remember being completely on board the hype train and excited for each new episode. Everyone liked it. But I think that now that it's been out for a while and people have rewatched it a few times, the hype has died down. As I said before, the show epitomizes a few problems common to a lot of anime. I'll talk about them more in depth later, but essentially it's a bait-and-switch love story with a meandering plot that goes nowhere, pointless non-characters, and a completely anticlimactic ending. Now to be clear, I'm only going to talk about the first season, or at least the first 14 episodes. The only way I could think of to really talk about why this show is so bad is to basically do a review of it at the same time. So here we go! So the show starts out with our protagonist Kirito logging into a brand new virtual reality MMO. The game works basically like plugging yourself into the Matrix does. You have no control over your body once you start playing. Now anyone with a brain would say, nope, that's a death trap. But real talk, if this technology actually existed, I'd plug my brain into that shit immediately. Even knowing I'd probably die. Also, no one smiles when they log into an MMO. All they're thinking about is, shit, forgot we have a raid tonight. Fuck, I still need to do my dailies too. God damn it. Anyway, it turns out Kabuki was a beta tester, and one of the first things he does is help another player, named Klein, by showing him how to play. This is actually a really good scene. It lays out the rules of the world for the viewers, as well as introduces a few characters and even has a little bit of action. You get a feeling that the show's writer really does understand MMOs. Nearly everything is spot on. Pretty quickly, the characters discover that they can't log out. Then they're teleported to the starting town where they're told that in order to log out, someone will have to defeat the final boss of the game. Naturally, if you die in the game, you die in real life. It's shown that each area of the game is essentially a different floor in a tower, and the higher you go, the more difficult the monsters get, with each floor guarded by a boss. And if anyone disconnects a player's VR helmet outside the game while they're still logged in, they'll immediately die. Also, their appearances change to look like they do in reality. After rewatching the show, I'm pretty sure that the only reason this happened is for this one gag, which I guess is pretty funny, but it seems like kind of a waste. Part of playing an MMO is not actually knowing what the people look like on the other end or even what gender they are. It could have created some good drama. Anyway, Kakariko wants to group up with Klein, but Klein is like, I have real friends to play with. Yeah, I know that feeling. So our protagonist sets out on his own instead. And to be honest, the first episode of the show really drew me in. You might be thinking, hey, this show doesn't seem bad. In fact, it seems pretty good. And yeah, this first episode was good. It establishes the premise, introduces us to a villain, and gives the characters a clear goal. And I don't even mind that I've seen this premise a few times before. I can enjoy a show even if it's heavily inspired by another. So what's wrong with it? Oh boy, just you wait. So the next episode immediately starts with, wait, what's his name? Alright, well, if Crunchyroll can't be bothered to get it right, then I'm not gonna try either. So Burrito tells the audience a month has passed since the game started and a bunch of people have died. And you pretty much know what the writing is gonna be like from now on. You can't just glaze over the beginning of the second act. You need to establish the characters and more rules about the world. We basically know nothing about Burrito or anything else at this point other than the very basics. Imagine if Star Wars cut straight from, get me those plans, to, I'm Luke. My family just died. Now I'm going somewhere to do something. Here's some people I met along the way so far. Without any of the scenes exploring the world or meeting those characters, or actually seeing firsthand how high the stakes are. Players gather up to form a raid group to try to take down the first floor boss. Some of the players are mad at the beta testers because they feel like if beta testers had been more helpful to new players, some deaths would have been prevented. This is actually a really interesting idea. It could serve as motivation for why Burrito wants to be a loner or why people don't trust him. But it's never really explored outside this episode. Oh well. Burrito finds a girl to group up with and they all set out to fight the boss. It turns out that girl is actually pretty good. And yes, that's what we're calling her because she basically has no character. But even though she's super kawaii anime, the boss slaughters everyone anyway. The end. Yay! No, not really. Only one guy dies. The death scene is super dramatic, like we're supposed to care about him when we literally met him 5 minutes ago. Maybe his death would be more impactful if we knew who he was. This is why it's important not to skip over giant chunks of story. Motivated by the death of whoever that was, Girl and Burrito rush into battle and defeat the boss. Afterward, people are mad and blame beta testers for Guy's death. Alright, this next part really confuses me. Basically, Burrito starts acting like a villain and says that he was a beta tester and that he's better than everyone else, including other beta testers. and doesn't need them. What it seems like he's trying to do here is take the heat off of other beta testers by making him look like the biggest asshole around. What doesn't make sense is that there are no other beta testers around to take the heat off of. The only other reason why he would act like this is that he is legitimately mad and wants to be a loner, which also doesn't make sense, as you'll see shortly. So Burrito sets off on his own to floor 2. The next episode opens up and everyone is on floor 11, and Burrito is with the group now? He just said that he wanted to be a loner. They all thank him for saving their lives and invite him to their guild. Wait, when did he save them? He says yes? This was so jarring that I thought for sure I'd missed an episode or two. But nope, once again this show has decided to skip over basically everything important and wait, floor 20? Floor 28, what? It took a month to get to floor 2. How much time has passed? Wouldn't most of these people be dead after like 2 weeks? What if someone unplugged their router? Do they just die? Most of the people playing are kids. On the first day, wouldn't their parents be like, I called you down for dinner an hour ago, get off your damn game, and take off the VR helmet, which would kill them? What about the people living alone? I mean, if I didn't contact anyone for a couple of weeks, I don't think anyone would really notice. That's pretty normal for me. I'm sure after like a month, someone would come by to check on me, but I'd be long dead by then. Whatever, I guess it's not really important. What is important, apparently, is Burrito meeting up with Girl 2 from his new guild, and having a really deep conversation that basically amounts to, I hope I don't die! Yeah, me too. Then they plow. Wait, how old are these kids? Shortly after, the group travels to a dungeon where they all get trapped in a room and the whole guild is slaughtered. No, not Girl 2. Could this be a moment of character development for Burrito? Could he learn something from this that influences his decisions for the rest of the show? Nope, skip ahead to floor 49. Burrito is trying to hunt down a rare boss to find a resurrection item for Girl 2, but it doesn't work. We don't even get to see a good boss fight, it just cuts away. And that's the episode. Are you starting to see why maybe the show isn't so great? The next episode introduces Girl 3. Nothing happens, and then there's some tentacle hentai or something, and that's the episode. Bye, Girl 3, we'll never see you again. Next episode, they're on floor 56. Wait, Burrito is part of a big group again. Wait, what's happening? Oh hey, it's Girl. But she doesn't like him now, I guess. Oh no, now she likes him again. Then they go out on a date. The rest of this episode and the next episode are essentially filler. Burrito and Girl investigate the most convoluted murder plot imaginable and nothing affecting the story happens. Episode 7 starts with Burrito wanting a new sword, but in order to craft it, he needs to enlist the help of a master blacksmith and retrieve materials from a dragon. Oh, it's like a quest or something that you would actually do in an MMO. Oh my god, things that I care about are happening. But then the episode comes to a screeching halt when the two of them start talking. I hope we don't die! Yeah, me too. Episode 8 opens up with some fighting. Damn, 2 episodes in a row where things related to the premise happen? Is this show actually starting to get good? Oh, 2 years have passed and the lead guilds are on floor 74. You know what would have been better than telling us that? Showing us. You know, like showing who made those guilds and why, and showing the strengths and weaknesses of each guild, and showing who beat which boss and them getting rare items. You know, things that people who play MMOs and watch the show would be interested in seeing. You could even have some character development. Or at the very least, have like a thing where characters use weapons and skills that reflect their personality. Like instead of a rapier, Girl could use like a sword and a shield because she's kind of a frontline fighter and protective of people she likes. And Burrito is like a loner who likes to keep his distance from people, so maybe instead of a sword, he could use a bow. And it would make sense for him to have some survival skills since he's alone all the time, so he would be more like a ranger or something. And then Klein could, wait, what's Klein's personality? I literally don't know anything about this character. The only reason I even call him by his name is because I have nothing else to call him. So Girl is mad at Burrito again for some reason. Now I'm not too much into anime culture, but I think there's a word for female characters who act like this. I think it's bitch. Oh, he accidentally grabbed her tit. I see this gag a lot and I don't really get it. Why is it that every time someone trips in anime, someone's tit gets grabbed? We're introduced to Villain Man, who Girl is afraid of for some reason. Wait, really? She's hiding behind Burrito now? I just got through explaining how she had a little bit of character and that she was protective or whatever. Oh, I get it now. She's bipolar. So Burrito and Villain Man duel for bipolar Girl's affection. Burrito wins, obviously, so the pair head off into a dungeon. The next episode starts and the two have a picnic. Then a few guilds show up and the army guild wants to challenge the boss. Everyone says they should learn more about the boss before challenging it, but the miserable asshole army guild leader challenges the boss anyway. I wonder if he'll die in the next few minutes. Yep, there he goes. So Burrito, Bipolar Girl, and Klein charge in to save the rest of the army guild. Wouldn't this show be way better if it was just about those 3 characters and their adventures in this game? You know, like a group that the story focuses on, instead of it being about nothing. And then they could do things like have characters. The three fight the boss until Burrito goes full anime and unleashes his special attack. I know that screaming out the name of your attack is an anime thing, but I'm pretty sure that this is the first and only time it's done in this show. So it's kind of jarring and dumb. He defeats the boss basically himself because he can now dual wield, apparently, which is a secret power that only he has. Afterward, the leader of Bipolar Girl's guild wants to duel him because he's so super special awesome now. If Burrito wins, he gets to take Bipolar Girl, whatever that means, but if he loses, he has to join her guild. So the next episode picks up with the two fighting. The guild leader cheats somehow and wins because of it. So Burrito is part of their guild now. As part of initiation, he has to prove himself in a dungeon. Villain Man comes along for some reason and promptly poisons everyone and tries to kill them. The guy who acts and looks villainous is a villain. Who would have guessed? Bipolar Girl shows up in the two fight Villain Man. Okay, this is a small detail, but it really bothers me. So during this fight, Burrito gets his hand cut off. Every other time anyone in the series is struck, it just leaves that red line over them like a wound. No one ever has a part severed. So does Burrito not have a hand now? Nope, it comes back later, completely unexplained. Also, Burrito, you don't need to block things with your hand. You have a sword. There it is. Anyway, Burrito kills Villain Man and his bloodlust gets Bipolar Girl so aroused that she can't help but make out with him on the spot. Then Bipolar Girl invites Burrito back to her place for some hot post-murder sex. Wait, is this really happening? Burrito tells her he can't plow because his dick is just too small. This revelation triggers Bipolar Girl's depression phase and the two decide to get married instead. So in the next episode, the two get married and move into a cabin in the woods. Yep, that's where this show is going. The next two episodes are essentially filler. They sit around and talk a lot, and don't do anything. I guess it's worth mentioning that they find a little girl in the woods and adopt her, which is kind of weird, but okay, whatever. It leads to this really bizarre series of events where Burrito and Bipolar Girl decide to take her into a super dangerous high-level dungeon, and it turns out that the super dangerous high-level dungeon is not a place for kids, and the little girl dies. Burrito, do you remember Girl 2? How she died in like almost the exact same way? I didn't think so. So it turns out that the little girl was an AI program, so Burrito hacks the game or something and makes her into a necklace. Yep. Alright, so the guild leader tells them to come back because it's time to fight another boss. And for the first time in the entire series, it's mentioned that while they have been in this game, their bodies in the real world are probably decaying away in some hospital bed somewhere. So time might be a factor. Wait a second, 2 years have passed in the real world and no one has looked into maybe finding a way to safely disconnect all these kids from this game? Given 2 years, I'm pretty sure it wouldn't be very hard for the police or whoever to find where the game's servers were and get some people to figure out how to manually override the game without killing everyone. Anyway, they fight the boss together with a few other guilds, and it's actually a pretty good fight scene. After the battle, Burrito realizes that the guild leader has basically been cheating and discovers that he is in fact the game's creator, who reveals that he is actually the last boss of the game and he was going to wait until everyone was at the last floor to betray them and fight. He says that it would have been a good story. Yes, it would have been. You know, if we would have gotten to know the characters and saw you fighting alongside with everyone this whole time, and then unexpectedly betraying them at the last minute, it would have been a good story. But instead, he challenges Burrito to a one-on-one duel, saying that if Burrito wins, the game will be over and everyone can return to the real world. They fight, and when it looks like Burrito is about to lose, Bipolar Girl sacrifices herself and dies. Yay! Then Burrito gets killed too. Yay! Oh wait, I guess he's not dead. Okay. Well, I guess he wins? Then they go to like cyber heaven or something? Oh look, the bad guy's there. He says that they completed the game so everyone can go home now and the game is deleting itself. When asked why he trapped all those people in the game and killed them, he says he doesn't have a reason. Then he just leaves. Yep, that's really what happens. Then Burrito and Bipolar Girl die horribly. Now, the show ends with Burrito waking up in a hospital and going out to find Bipolar Girl in the real world. Or at least the first season does. The next season is pretty much the same thing again, except everyone turns into fairies for some reason. They're still playing a virtual reality MMO, but they have wings now. Also, the new game isn't called Sword Art Online, but the show is still called that. Then the season after that, they do like a shooter MMO? I don't know. So yeah, that's it. So other than everything, what's my problem with this show? It's that it's a total bait and switch. The first episode draws you in and is actually pretty good, but ultimately just sets you up for disappointment. It's like the creators had a good idea of what they wanted to do and how to do it, but after the first episode, it seems like they put no effort into it at all. Everything important happens off-screen during giant time lapses between episodes. I guess it's easier to animate two people sitting in a room and talking than it is action scenes. This isn't a problem unique to the show either. Seems like there's a lot of anime that starts off pretty good but quickly devolves into like a poorly written love story. Or just has a weird letdown of an ending. When it comes to games, it doesn't seem like writing a story would be that difficult. Episode-to-episode stories could have just been find the boss of the current floor and defeat it. Maybe there's some kind of difficulty or obstacle in the way, but they overcome it and once in a while someone dies or something happens that changes a character for the rest of the show. But instead it focuses on pointless one-shot characters and side stories that are essentially filler. The show should have focused on things that would be interesting for people who play MMOs. You know, leveling up, getting new items, getting involved with a group or guild and the politics and drama surrounding that. Actually showing boss fights and solving dungeon puzzles. Watching this show is about the equivalent to watching a streamer play some MMO where he just stands around in town for hours talking to people in private chat. And if even 12-year-old streamers know that what people want to watch is PvP and boss fights, why is it so hard for these professional writers to figure it out? And you know, it's not really a wonder why there's so much poorly written anime. The people who create them are generally artists, not writers. I'm not saying that you can't be good at both. There's plenty of anime that is both written and drawn well. But I think that manga and anime is generally accepted for its artistic merit and story comes second. I think the problem is just the way it's created. Now, I'm not 100% sure on the process, but I can take a guess that when manga is serialized, the artist doesn't need to have the entire thing complete. He can basically draw some cool pictures and pitch an idea, and if people like it, then they will make it into a serialized manga. And if that's popular enough, then it becomes an anime. And if I'm right about that, then it suddenly makes sense why so much anime seems like it's just being made up on the spot, without any real long-term plot or idea of story progression or what it wants its conclusion to be. Because that's exactly what's happening. Well, that's pretty much all I have to say about Sword Art Online. Obviously I'm not a fan of it, but I will admit that the action is pretty good. All 4 minutes of it. If you haven't seen the show, I'd suggest watching at least the first season and coming to your own conclusions. Anyway, I'm Kothorix, and you have a wonderful day. Okay, so today's subscriber shoutout goes to Relay. Relay is a Call of Duty team, and while I don't play Call of Duty, what I've seen from the leaders of this team makes me think that they are pretty cool guys. So go take a look if you're interested.